Hello. Welcome back to the stream, and welcome back to more game development. You're currently listening to the Stream Beats ambient playlist, so it's going to be nice and chill. I'll actually bump this up a little bit. Anyway, before we get started, brief shout out and thanks to some people I forgot to shout out previously when they actually followed, but we'll do it now.
A new follower.
First, thank you to the Cyberchill for following. Then we also had
A new follower.
J3110. I have no idea how to actually pronounce that, but thank you for the follow. And finally,
A new follower.
Zast the Squatch. Greatly appreciate the follows from all of you. So, I have... Today is what? Tuesday? So Tuesday, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4... Basically 4 days to finish the game. Currently, going by my little chart that I made. So originally I was going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 endings. I think I'm just going to cut 2 of them. Because originally there was going to be 7 endings. You have 4 endings for one of the 4 things in your apartment that you have left unfinished when you leave. 5th ending if you leave late. Then there was going to be 2 special endings. One special ending was watch the computer 3 times. Then the 4th ending was watch the computer 4 times. Pretty simple. I'm just going to cut both of those ones. At this point, I don't have the time to work on those extra endings. They were kind of special ones anyway, and I don't have the time. Simple as that. So, that leaves ending A. We mostly finished ending A. Ending A is basically done. I just need to make the god fight and then our assets. That's going to be a lot of what I'm going to have to do later this week. Going to be very, very scrappy on those. So, we have ending A, which is partially done. Ending B, C, and D need to be made. Ending D is the one that I had the Undertale section for, so that's, let's say, 50% finished. Because I need to figure out what I'm going to do for, like, the end part of that. On top of actually, like... That one is going to be tricky, because it actually requires me to significantly flesh out the, stuff that's going on in the fight. Like, I have a very basic one, which is just a turret firing bullets at you, but, like... I need to flesh that out a lot more. But I have some stuff that'll make that a little easier, and I'll show that to you in a minute. So really... Oh, and ending E. Ending E I actually did off-screen, because I was working on a bunch of stuff, and it took me, like, 4-ish hours to finish up. I'll show it to you in a minute. That leaves 2 endings. Endings B and ending C. Those 2 endings were going to be a... So ending B was going to be a Metal Gear homage, like original OG Metal Gear, or I guess Metal Gear Solid, the original ones, right? And then ending C was going to be a Ikaruga Gradius shmup kind of thing. That one I think is going to be the easiest one to finish. It's probably what I'm going to do now. The Metal Gear one, I'm kind of trying to figure out what the best way to do. Oh, hey, Minbron. Yeah, no problem. Glad to see that you guys already reached your goal. By the way, if you're not familiar, that is one Minbron, who is, I actually don't know what I would best describe it as, but I guess lead programmer / studio head at Color Grave Games. I don't know. Indie development is weird because a lot of people just wear different hats. But anyway, he's over at Color Grave Games. He makes a lot of excellent indie games, and they've recently launched a Kickstarter for their next upcoming game, Claire a la Mode. And by recently, I mean literally earlier today, which I also backed. So, I threw some money down for that. It's reached its goal. So, game's on its way. Ooh, totally redone the demo. Very fancy. I'll have to check that out. Because, like, I was kind of, cool, I guess, on the demo originally, but I'll have to see how the new one is. Anyway, if you're listening to this, go check out the Kickstarter for Claire a la Mode from Color Grave Games. Ooh, really? Okay. In that case, I'm going to have to definitely check it out. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go back in and take a look at it then. I'll have to add it as a update to the last time I streamed the demo. Alright, right. So, let's go over what I did off stream, which was yesterday after work, pretty much. I'm really proud about this one, because I actually... Alright, sounds good, man. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the work. You've got quite a bit ahead of you now, don't you? I'm gonna be real, I was looking at like, can I spare $1,000 to get an NPC in this game? Probably shouldn't. I need to pay off my car still. The answer is no, I actually cannot spare $1,000 to get an NPC in the game. I had to pay a lot of money to get my car paid off very quickly, which I'm very happy to find out is going to get the battery replaced soon for free, which is great because that means I basically have a brand new car, which is really good for a car that's already 9 years old. If you buy an EV, check the warranties and mileage on the car that you're buying if it's used. Very, very important information. You want a car that's, if the battery starts going to shit, you can get it warrantied out because those things are expensive. Like that battery was going to cost like 20 grand to fix if I didn't have the car and bought the one that was significantly under warranty. So, big ups me in the past. My first option was going to be like a Nissan Leaf, which was older than that, so that would definitely have been out of warranty. Definitely have gotten me to work, though. Anyway, so here's what I've done over the last couple days. Well, over the last day, I should say. I'm just going to pause this real quick. Now, I'll just pause the music. There we go. Anyway, check this out. Are you ready? Watch this. I'm not going to click any buttons. Now I'm clicking buttons again. It's over! Well, yeah, I managed to recreate a DDR game in GameMaker. Shockingly easy. Honestly, the most difficult thing I had to do was figure out why sprites weren't drawing properly. And it turns out the entire reason for that is because if you don't have a background, sprites just won't draw. Period. So that was the issue. The issue was I did not have a background. As soon as I put this shit-ass gray background I drew up in 2 seconds, everything worked. The joys of game development, huh? Or programming in general. Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Oh, it was something stupid. Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna also turn my mic up real quick because I noticed it was a little quiet when I was looking at the It was a little quiet when I was looking at the VOD. Why does this have a track 6? Should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there we go. There should be no track 6. Anyway, that's the little thing I made up. This is a very basic prototype, but the important part is I can very easily just create a new one. So one of the important things about DDR games is that they're also highly, highly moddable. If you ever played Stepmania, Beatmania, ITG, DDR, OSU. It's probably other ones I'm forgetting. Anyway, the big ones, Stepmania and Osu, usually have a thing that lets you sort of play along to the music and go, tap in the beats as they happen so that you don't have to try and manually put everything down there. So that's what I did. I just programmed a little thing that spits out a text file with all the information I need, and I just copy paste that into a script. So here's what I did. You may remember script eGame. I had a couple if statements, which I then converted into a switch case. That is no longer the case. Now what it actually is, I can actually just delete all this, it's an array. It's just an array. And what I do is, array has the step value for each game step. When the step value matches one of the arrows in the array, pops it out. Simple as that. And then I have a small adjustment here, which is just, I have an 180-second lead up because the points count. The arrows spawn, then 180 steps later, they despawn, and that's when the actual score counting happens. So I just had it spawn 180 steps before it would be deleted, which is when I actually have it on the beat, and that lets me just, have it work. Basically, it works out this way. It just makes it work. And then this thing is here is because if I didn't do that, then as soon as it hits, like if I had this out, as soon as it hits 2443, it would just break because there's no index for it to reference there. So this is basically just there to make the array go higher so it doesn't break. But yeah, nice, simple, actually very clean to look at, sort of. Not very, actually. This is kind of a mess, but it works, and the best part is I can do it basically semi-automatically. Still gotta tippy-tap-tap into the program for it to work, but for now, it's fine. I think that's about it. Basically, all that's left for that is fine-tuning, adjustments, adding sprites, and then I'll have to do a second version using the full song for the God fight, plus sprites. But enough about eGame. eGame is fine. I'll have to make another one for eGod. And that'll be like just later on. Honestly, that'll probably take me like 10 minutes. Not even. Probably take me like 2. Actually, how long is the song? I think the song's like 2.5, so it'll take me exactly 2.5 minutes. Anyway, back to the music. Ambient playlist. Right. Actually, I'll just rename it to eGame so it is slightly easier to keep track of when I'm looking at a big lineup of folders. I should make a new, create a group, dgame, because like this is going to go in there. And as well as this, object clock is basically just an apartment object. Okay. So eGame, I'll have to clean up, and I still got to figure out what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna leave the Metal Gear thing alone. That was B root. So we're gonna go with C game today. So, room C game. Is that the naming scheme I'm going with? Yes. Why isn't it? Why is this one not the right width? Weird. Okay, I'm gonna add a background to this now that I know that's an issue. Everything's just gonna have this nice gray background for a while. Alright, C game is Ikaruga. Well, I say Ikaruga, but it's really any shmup. So this... I think what I'm going to have to do for this one is it's going to have to be a treadmill. Well, actually, no, this is C route, right? So, yes, we are doing... Because what I could do is a big long room, but I've learned that's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to deal with that. Again. I did the big long room for A. I don't want to do that again. Pain in the dick. Huge pain in the dick. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to... I think what I should do is general use apartment. I think I should probably do like a cursor. You know what? Let's. Okay, first off, objects, general use. We're gonna stick some walls here. So basically what we're going to have is we're going to have a treadmill of sorts. The treadmill is just going to... Ooh, I'm going to have to move the walls, though. That's awkward. Technically speaking, the easy way to do this would actually be zoom out, giant corridor, just huge corridor, and then you have the stuff. Maybe it would work. Maybe it could work that way, actually. I don't know. I'm just really reluctant to do that because of how badly it turned out last time. Let's try it out. Let's do it. So the basic idea here is you're going to be, or the character is going to be like trying to dodge obstacles. It's going to be like, the original idea for this section was the first part was going to be sort of like the time tunnel. Like the Battletoads time tunnel. If you're not familiar with that. No, the turbo tunnel. So if you're not familiar with it, the turbo tunnel is effectively just a... Here, I'll do this. It's a long section. There you go. It's a long section where you get on this little speeder and you're trying to avoid obstacles that are coming at you as you're just moving through. And it's like it's always been touted as this like huge difficult section because of how fast these things come at you and how it's always like instant death. I think I could do that. I definitely think I could do that. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at how rough that is. Like, it's not too crazy by the standards of some games these days, but it is, like, pretty rough. Especially that bit. Anyway, it wouldn't be too difficult to get this working. Technically speaking. What the f... What the... Look at this! That ending section is just mean. Yeesh. Alright, so that's basically how that would work. It's pretty easy, in my opinion. You can just have, like... Just follow the mouse, then left click to jump. Like, that's really all you need to do. Or, could be like a Bit Trip Runner. Bit Trip Runner might actually not be a bad idea. Click, left click jump, right click slide. You have high, low obstacles, that's it. That might be a better way to... I just had a stupid idea where I just have the sprite and I just squash it by half when I click the right-click button to show it sliding. Alright, you know what? To start off with, let's just leave it like this. I'm not going to do a thing, and what we're instead going to do is we are going to C-game, we're going to make create object... Okay, so it will always move towards the mouse. Player will always move towards the mouse. I'm gonna make a copy of this. Duplicate. And we're gonna have to change a couple steps in this. The draw event is basically fine, I think. Although, realistically, the only thing I'm going to be drawing is the right direction. So, like, the only thing I need to do is... Yeah, so I can just, like... get rid of this section. Just going to draw the sprite. Dragoon walking. Image index. We're only going to be using the right case. So I can basically just replace sprite end here. Sprite start here. I can get rid of this entire switch. Perfect. Okay. So that's the draw. Draw is basically simplified. It is only drawing right. Don't need anything else. Nice and simple. Clean. It's always going to be moving towards the mouse X and Y. That's part of the reason why I use dest X, is because that way I have dest X just in the code already. Don't need to mess around with anything. It's all changed right here. I will need to change a couple things though. Deer name I could theoretically get rid of, but it's fine. Freeze is equal to 0. Point direction is dest X, dest Y, which is going to be mouse. It's always going to be mouse, so I don't actually need to change this ever. Now, speed. I'm going to set speed to 5. I think speed 5 is probably good. It's not fast enough that you can dodge everything, but it is also fast enough to get out of the way of most things if you're doing it right. And I am going to decrease this to like 5. I'm going to decrease this to 10. I'm going to decrease this to 5, because theoretically it should never be further away than 5 pixels from that position. I kind of had it there just so it would just slow down a little bit more smoothly, but this way should work. And that way I don't have it like juddering around near where the mouse is. This is entirely redundant since I'm now not using the direction stuff at all. Yeah, this actually works too, since like, well, okay, what I can do also is if I go back into draw, I will now... Is speed equals 0? No. Just get rid of that. So now it's always going to be running, and it's always going to be running towards where the mouse is. So put it in. And if we play, it's going to go to the DDR mode. Room. There we go. It's not going to the mouse XY. It was going up into the corner for some reason. That's probably on the create. Destination X is mouse X. Destination Y is mouse Y. Draw step. Is equal to 0. Set point direction. Destination X. Destination Y. Curious. Why is it going there is my question. I wonder, is it the other way? It shouldn't be. Point direction should give me the direction I need, though. X1, Y1 is the point. X2, Y2 is that thing. Huh. Why is it such a 50.47? Or 50.74? That's very weird. So destination X and destination Y should be mouse X, mouse Y. Freeze is set to 0. Okay, direction is equal to the point direction of X, Y, destination X, destination Y. What happens if I swap these two? Actually, what happens if I just... Let's just do that, see what happens. Huh. Well, it seemed to be working right up until you hit the wall. Getting a little bit of judder, so I gotta increase that pixel size. Then when you get here, it stops all movement. So I'm probably gonna have to adjust collision with walls. Okay. This was just a small piece of code that was supposed to fix that collision glitching error. So I can just straight up remove that for the time being. So, so I think what I'll do is dest y x basically will not change. I'll get rid of this. I don't need this one to change at all. What dest y will be now is dest y will be I wonder if it's a weird issue with that thing. So I might just need to disable this entire collision event. And instead in the step object, just do... what's the script I had again? Collision range. So I'll give it range 5 up, 5 down. Well, no, actually, 0 up, 0 down, then 5 up, 5 down, self, and then object wall. So if that's true, then v speed is equal to negative v speed. There you go. Looks not bad, actually. All right, now for this, I'm going to change this up to 25, and we're going to make this 10. Still a weird amount of judder there, and I don't understand what's up with that. 15? Oh, you know what the reason for the judder is? Because I'm using dest x, dest y, which should be mouse x, mouse y. Because it's right there. It's literally defined as mouse x, mouse y, and I don't know why it's not doing that properly. Let's do this. I could probably decrease the tolerance. Yeah, I could probably decrease this to like 10. Or probably decrease this to 5 and this one to 10. Yeah, that looked good. Whee! Yeah. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is that was the thing. The player object is now basically set there. I don't need to worry about that. So on object, okay, now we are gonna make a new object here. Create object, and we're gonna call this C barrier. Basically, I need something to act as an actual, let's say, damage source. I need to have different math than what I've been using for the walls. The walls are walls. These are going to be moving objects, technically speaking. Okay, so sprite, let's create object. Wait, no, that's not what I want to do at all. Delete that. Create sprite, and we're going to create a sprite. We're going to call it sprite obstacle. Yeah, just sprite obstacle is fine. We'll center, edit image, and we're just gonna make this a nice red cube. That's it, just a red square. Collision mask, automatic, rectangle, good. So what I want this thing to do is I want it to be add event, collision with object, barrier. And what it's going to do is on collision with the barrier object, it is going to see, how's the best way to do this? I can just put this up top. Get that out of the way for the moment. Yeah, I'm gonna change that. So instead of being freeze, I'm gonna call it collided. So if collided is equal to 0, that means it's doing normal mouse movement things. However, if collided is equal to 1, and I'm gonna do this, assign variable, collided becomes a value of 1. Or, actually, better idea. If we're going to go in the X direction, we're going to give it, see, X down is to the left, so we want X, so 0. Let's give it 5, 0, 0, object, C, barrier. There. So now I don't even need this thing, technically. So I'll just delete that. And just reset it every time. So at every step, collision is set to 0. If it's touching a wall, do a little bit of wiggle room to get it away from the wall. If it's touching a barrier, there. If it's touching a barrier, that means collision gets set to 1, and then it does the rest of the work. So collision is set to 0, follow the mouse. Collision is set to 1. Let's see. H speed is equal to negative. What I kind of wanted to do is I wanted to What I want to do is I want to kind of bounce it back for a second. So we're going to set it h speed equal to minus 10. And because the collision range is actually 5, that'll bounce it back like a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put a barrier right here and see what happens. Little, not quite. What happens if I do negative 100? Okay, that basically jumps it back like that. Not good. What's the best way to do this? I think the best way to be speed is negative 10. Let's overcomplicate the math here a little bit. Let's see what happens if I do it that way. No. Idea. Create an alarm. All this thing does is it'll exist and then set collided to 0 after a period of time. So collided is equal to 1. We're going to get rid of this. Collided is equal to 1. Horizontal speed is set to negative 10. And alarm set. Is it alarm set? Alarm set. There we go. Alarm set index value. So it'll be alarm set 0. Let's make it 180. So theoretically, if I do this, let's make it 60. His H speed is never reset. What happens to the direction there? It just gets hard locked to 172.36. Which is very weird. There he goes. Okay. New idea. If instead of that, I do this. Really? I don't understand why H speed is like... I don't know why H speed did that. It's very strange. Let's see if I just do this. What happens if I just do this? Huh. Weird. Okay, well, let's do this then. Direction is equal to point direction x, y, 0, y. So it's only moving in the x direction. Speed is equal to 10. And then in alarm 0, it'll just reset the point direction in the way it's supposed to be going. Huh. That's very weird. Why is it doing that? Like, it should be going right back to this as soon as Collided gets set to 0. Is Collided not getting set to 0? Collided 0. Collided 1. It's not. That explains things. This is bizarre. Alright, well, I gotta take a quick break. Run ads. I'll step away for a second and see if I can work through to my brain, but I'll be right back. Give me a couple minutes. Yeah, no, still got no idea why it's not triggering the alarm. Turns an integer. That should return, let's see, alarm -1, yeah, 60. Huh. It's not counting down. What? Can be used on those own alarms when this variable reaches 0. Alarms are counted down at the start of each step after the begin step event, but before the main step event. Oh, I know why. It's because the alarm is active. The alarm is being set to 60 every single step that collision is 1, but collision never goes down because the alarm is always constantly getting reset to 60. That's why. Okay, so if alarm 0 does not equal equals -1. There. So now it'll only trigger one time when the alarm is inactive. And we should see that alarm button just like that. Oh, that's beautiful, actually. All right, I'm going to set that to, let's say 30. I think half a second is probably fine. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. So what's going to happen is it's going to ram into the thing, and there's going to be an enemy on this side, and basically just, if it gets hit by one of these things, it gets pushed back, and the failure state is hitting the thing in the back here. If it hits that, failure state. Reset the room. Which means I will need to create a skip button for this one as well. Which is not a problem. I could probably just borrow the skip button code from the other sections. That's beautiful though. That looks great. Like that actually looks great. That's perfect. Okay, so now we're going to delete this because I don't need that one there. And I just had a really stupid way to add motion to this, but I'll do that on an art day. Literally, I'm just gonna have a bunch of I'm just gonna have a bunch of sprites that are just like the road strips and the lights in the background, and they're just gonna play in sequence, and that's all it's gonna be. It's just gonna be a sequence of road strips. I think that'll work great for giving it motion. All right, now comes the hard part. Adding these things in. Because you see, I need to actually spawn these things. Okay, so we're going to go to Object-C Barrier, and just really quick, we're going to create a step event here. And all I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go if x is less than or equal to 0, instance destroy. That's it. It's just, if it hits that, it's going to destroy itself. Now, on create, I'm going to set h speed is equal to negative, let's say -3. -3 is probably good. That's it. They are very simple objects. That's all they need to do. Now, the real trick here is creating them. Okay, so create event, we're going to do, I think we're going to do a step count again. We're going to create a variable called step count, starts at 0. That's it. Then in step, at the start of the step, step count plus equals 1. How long do I want this to be? I want this to be like, let's go to 5,000 steps. 5,000 was too much, if anything. So if step count is greater than or equal to 5,000, room, go to, we're going to go to room, apartment, just as a test thing. That's basically all it is. Just if it hits 5,000, it'll just go whoop, right to the apartment, and that'll be it. Okay, then what we're going to do here is we're going to do random. How does random work? Random floating point decimal number between 0.0 and the specified upper limit. Okay, let's do... Let's do random, 1. So it'll go from 0.01 to 1. And, no, let's do 10. And we're going to do integer. No. How do I make it into an integer? Is it just int? No. There's gotta be a way to do it as an integer. Oh, random range. Okay. Okay, so I should use random range, and we're going to go from 0 to 10, inclusive. And we're going to call that var. Call it, I don't know, a var RNG. So, switch case, or switch RNG. I love using switch cases. They're like if statements, but cleaner. So in the case that it's 0, case is 0, case 1, that's my laundry. I'll be back in a moment. Okay. Back to what I was doing here. So case 1, break. Case 2. Okay, so in the case of this, we're going to instance create layer. Let's create it up here, let's say. So 1270 124 or 125. Let's 1270 125. We're just going to lower this by like, it goes down to 700. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 700 divided by 4 is, let's say it's 150. So actually, let's make this 150. So 300, 450, 600. Details, compile errors. What compile errors? this is not even relevant. Oh, argument was expected at this time. Oh, that's why. Forgot about that. Okay, so clearly I need to tone it down a little bit. So, we're gonna increase that by a lot. We're gonna increase this to 50. So there's a 4 out of 50 chance, 8% chance that it spawns a block. Random block. Look at that. Granted, this is still a bit much. Let's do 100. Wow, wall of death immediately? Are you for real? Okay, 200. I'll just keep upping the number until it feels good. See, now this feels reasonable. Well, actually, this feels too easy. Okay, let's do the 150 then. 150. I might have to go with 200. Because, like, 150 is a little... All right, so the way I've done it will make it harder to tune, but also way easier for me to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop this to 150, and we're going to make a couple changes to our player. We're going to add, what was this alarm for again? Collision. Right, we're going to have a second alarm. Alarm 1. Okay, so step. Well, rather, we're going to go to create, and I'm going to make a new one here. Well, we're going to use an old one. We're going to call it airborne. So, step. If collision is that, and airborne is equal to 0, then collided. If you're airborne, though, you get to skip that. So what's going to happen is... if mouse pressed... I'm going to just double check what this thing is again. Live preview. Mouse check button pressed. Mouse check button pressed. If and airborne is equal to 0, then airborne is equal to 1, and alarm set 1. We're going to make it last for 30. So again, it'll just same thing as before. Basically, you won't be able to spam the button. Press left button, it'll jump you up in the air. And draw. I actually can use this, can't I? Ha ha ha. You see, this is the fun part about using a program-based thing, is because you can mess with stuff if you wanted to. So let's go with image X scale. We're just gonna 1.5 times that. So it's gonna be slightly bigger because it's jumping up in the air. It's getting closer to the camera. I just said something stupid. Ready? Watch this. God, no, what's the math for this? Because image angle is basically going to be 0. So I want it to be... I want it to do a flip in the air when it jumps. So that would be image angle plus alarm 1 divided by, I'm going to set to 30. I set to 30, right? Step. Yeah, alarm 130 times 360. And I gotta do this one first too. Okay, close that. So alarm 1 when it's set, and then just all it's gonna do is it's gonna go airborne is equal to 0 again. So that's when you left click. For details of why this build failed. Why the build fail? Well, this isn't even being called, so that doesn't matter. This is a totally different unexpected else expression. Where? Line 32, column 1. Object player, object wall. What? I don't know how that's unexpected. It's probably this thing. No? What is going on? What is wrong with my compile errors? Object player C game step 082 malformed if statement. Object player C game step 0. So step 0. Is it this? Well, let's just see here. If I call this one, does it run? It is. It was that. Okay, so something here is wrong. Oh. Oh, what the... It's always a small typo you don't realize. What? It's... Really? Oh. Okay, that basically lets you get over a single block gap, like this. But not a double. And if you get caught, you're caught. So I think that's fair. So I'll go back to the draw. Image scale is going to be 1.5 times. Enjoy scale, 1.5 times. And image rotation, or image angle, will be plus alarm 1 divided by 60 times 360. Get. It works. It works. I might up it to 45 just because that's a little tight. Styling on it. Look at this. Oh, now you can jump over too wide with this. Okay. Whee! Ah. This is so stupid looking. It's so stupid looking. Look at this. Look at this. But anyway, just like that, I've been streaming for an hour and a half, and now I've got a little running game thing where I have to dodge boxes. And this actually, I could even up the difficulty of this even further. 24 minutes. You know what? Give me another second. I drank too much water, so I'm going to refill my water. Actually, no. You know what? I can stick it out for another 20 minutes. What I would like is the UPS guy to come. That would be nice. Actually, let me check if my delivery is still scheduled for today. Oh. Now it's out for delivery tomorrow, sometime between 2 and 5. Cool. That's fine, I suppose. Alright, that's the game part. Oh yeah, and of course, we just need to move this over a little bit, stick a trigger right here, boop. And then object C, if instance find, actually I'll put that in the create. Instance find, trigger, and the 0th instance of it, the first one, whatever. And we're going to call that kill volume. So if kill volume dot what is it again? It's just triggered, right? Yeah. The jump may be too powerful, but at the same time, like, it's fully possible to just totally wipe out if you do something like that. So I think it's pretty fair. I think that's fair. You have all the power in the world to get through it, but if you fuck up, then you're dead. All right. That was the other thing I wanted to get from the store, some Skinny Pop. Just add that to my list. All right, well, we made a little running game. That'll do. It's technically all I need to do right now, but we should continue onwards. I guess we can start working on the Metal Gear thing. I'll do the God games later on. But like, this is good progress. Shockingly, this one was actually the hardest one. Like, this one... Oops. Like, this one's going to be tricky, mostly just because I need to do a lot of fine-tuning, but I think I can do it. This one is done, effectively. This one's also effectively done, and then A is done. So I wasn't actually wrong when I said clearing one route is basically 50% of the game. A lot of fine-tuning that still needs to be done, but that can all be done on Friday. Ideally. Okay, so now... Let's do it. Create... Room B game. Okay, actually, I do need to go to the restroom, so I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute. I overestimated my capacity. Okay, might have to bite the bullet. Might have to bite the bullet and do it. I really didn't want to do this. Well, that's 1280 times 2. 1280 by 2 is 2560. By 1440. Okay. I kind of didn't want to have to do this. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm just gonna real quickly. I'm just gonna convert all this stuff to code so that it's a little easier to look at. Is the best way to put it, I guess. Okay, good. Everything's there. Everything's good. Everything's set. So, up here, I'm just going to have the collision code that we're going to be using. So, if collision... Let's go 5 in every direction. So dest x equals x. Okay, let's see if that does it. What I'll also do is I'm going to put this guy... Whoops, didn't actually mean to do that. That guy there, and we're just going to put some walls around. This can be normal walls, nothing too crazy. I just want to make sure that this collision event works properly. Ah, wrong one. Right, forgot about that. Huh. That's a weird little side effect I wasn't expecting. Oh, now I'm stuck. Nope, still have that issue. Weird. Still got that problem. Weird. Why does it do that? It's so strange. This doesn't even fix it. Huh. That's so weird. That's so strange. In the grand scheme of things, is that a big issue? No, actually, I don't think it is. I will decrease the size of this, though, because 20 pixels is a bit much. Alright, I think we're good. Right. can basically leave all this stuff as is for the moment. The step event is what I just fixed up, so now it's, I can actually just delete all this. Just straight up get rid of all that. Ta-da. Create event. Pretty simple. Right. So let me explain the basic premise here. The basic premise here is that we are going to be going into the room and we're going to be starting like over here in the corner, right? Over in the corner, doesn't really matter exactly what. And we're going to be trying to get to our cubicle. Now, our cubicle is going to be up here in the top left corner. So you got to get through there from here. Seems simple enough. But it's an office. There's a bunch of other cubicles in the way. And most importantly, there's going to be a lot of bosses in the way. So these guys are going to be sitting around, and they're going to have vision cones. And, I probably am going to have to draw other sprites for them or something. Annoyingly. Anyway, the idea is they're going to have vision cones, and I'll have to make the vision cones actually visible, which is not a problem, actually. Let's just do that right now. Sprite, temp, create, sprite, sprite vision, edit image. Basically something like that. Then we just go through, erase the extra bits. Ta-da! Vision cone. I kind of want this to be in black, but it's fine. Paint bucket in the middle. A little too fluorescent, but it'll be fine. It's a temporary sprite. We want the rotation point to actually be top center. Alright, so what these guys are going to do is these guys are going to have a variable we're going to call facing. And that's going to start at 0. Draw. No, I probably want to use draw to visual. And also, before I forget, I should probably go to that sprite again. See if I can change the alpha on this. Ooh, no, wait, I can just change that alpha on the sprite when I draw it, can't I? What the hell? That was weird. Draw transform value. Wait, no. Draw transform sprite. Okay, so we're going to use sprite. We're Use sprite vision. And I'm going to draw it at 0, 0. That seems fine. Rotation will be 90 times facing. And alpha, I'm going to make it 0.5. So now, if I put that in here, where is my guy? I put him right there. Oh. The bigger question is, why is he up there? Like, what's going on with that? He should be here. Like, what the hell is this about? Why? 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 Why is he there? What the hell? For what reason? At least put him in the center. I'm utterly baffled. I am utterly baffled. Okay, step. I'm just gonna... X is equal to 500. Y is equal to 500. And I'm gonna assume that's gonna put it in the right spot. What the hell is going... What is going on? What is going on? I've never... Oh, wait. That's a little teeny sprite. Is it overwriting itself? It is. That was bizarre. I didn't think when it said draw sprite, it would, like, not draw itself. That's strange. Anyway, now we got our little dude. So what I want to do is I want to have it go up here, and then, oh no, you've been spotted! The basic plot line behind this route is that this is the one where you don't go to the bathroom before you leave your apartment. So as a result, you are stuck in the bathroom for 30 minutes. And you had to sneak back to your cubicle before your boss finds you. So I'm going to have a lot of patrol routes going. Another thing is I'm going to have to figure out... let's actually change that real quick. Room B game, 2560, viewports and cameras. Nope, don't do that. Enable viewports. Visible. We want this following object player. Viewport properties 1280 by 720. Horizontal border 32, horizontal speed -1, -1. Okay, so it looks like I was right. It's about a 300 square... It goes in about 300 squares from the edges. That seems about good, actually. Like, that seems like a good amount to have on both sides. Maybe a little... Okay, so maybe the vertical one can be like 200, and I think the horizontal one can be probably more like 400. Because it's 1280, so about 1/3, 720, yeah, about 1/3. Actually, you know what? Let's see. 1280 divided by 3 is 426. Let's do 425. And then 720 divided by 3 is 240. So 240. So, works down the corner. You get about 1/3 of the screen in the center to move with.
I've been caught red-handed.
And we just have an object trigger there. That's pretty simple. Just create a trigger vol is equal to instance find object trigger, 0th instance of that. If trigger volume dot triggered is equal to 1, then room go to room go to and then room apartment. That was a lot bigger than I was expecting for that, actually. Like, that was a weirdly large area for that trigger volume to cover. That'll work fine, though. What I might do is I might make this, like, the bathroom stall. So I'll put a toilet in here. Oh God, I forgot how big this sprite is. There you go. So now he's in the bathroom. So we go from the bathroom, you gotta worm your way around this place in order to get out. Now, one of the things I wanted to do also is I want to have patrolling enemies. And the problem is, how do you have patrols? And the way I was thinking about this is, I can't, like, programming them for specific locations is a huge hassle. Tremendous hassle. Absolutely ginormous hassle. So instead, what I could just do is I could make little nodes, which I guess I should make the walls for this area first. Like, this is effectively going to be a maze. Those walls were supposed to be real walls, not sprite walls. Whoopsie. I was also going through the sprites. Oh. This isn't the wrong... I forgot to make an object for this. Ha 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 ha. Create... Go. So now I'll put object B game up here. And the reason for that is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the dragoon here on the draw step. Draw transform value, no. Draw sprite transform. The sprite it's going to draw is my arrow sprite. Very handy. It's going to draw it relative to itself, scale XY, and it's going to rotate. Rotation is going to be point direction between XY and... I'm going to create step. I got to get that variable, don't I? Object B game. I'm going to call that control obj. X control obj dot y. Now let's see if that works. Yes, perfect. So that'll point me back here. Perfect. So now I also need to have it moved away from my body a little bit, because that's kind of ugly and terrible to look at. So what should I do there? Annoyingly, I can't, like, if I could move the center away on the sprite, like, just further away, that would be perfect, but I can't. So instead, what I've got to do is I've got to go in the X direction It's got to do what? In the X direction, it needs to go... Is there a direction.x subvariable or something? Like, what I need is the... strings... I guess I'll just do math. Okay, so it's... Huh. Let's see. If I want it in the X direction, that'd be... I guess the cosine of the direction? That's interesting. Why on earth is it doing that? Right, because it's sinusoidal. Actually, no, I want inverse sine, don't I? How do I get inverse sine? Is it arc? I guess it would be arc sine. What's d arc sine? Oh, degrees instead of radians. Actually, is it A or arc? It's arc. Okay, wait a second. I'm not doing the math right here. I'm not mathing properly. Okay. Do I have anything to write on? I don't have anything to write on. I can use a receipt. I'm gonna grab one of these pens. Do any of these work? I think this one works. Okay, let's do some math. How old was this receipt anyway? I'm gonna leave that one actually. I gotta put these receipts into my accounting program at some point. This one's probably delivered by now. I don't think I need this receipt anymore. Okay, so we are looking at the sound of my pen. Does this work? Does this work? It works enough. Okay. Let's say I'm standing, so 0, 90, 180, 270. I'm just gonna use a drawing program at this point. I don't think I have any pens in my room that work. Why is paint not capturing? Really? Paint doesn't work? Are you serious? Can I use it as a game capture? Does that work? No, it does not. This is incredibly annoying. Why isn't it work? I've never seen that kind of thing happen. Paint isn't capturing? Like, what's up with that? Isn't there a draw function on here? Oh, it's a plugin. Okay, never mind then. Well, it's about the same as if I would be doing it on paper. So let's see. So we have let's say we have an angle of 180 or 100 degrees. is my OBS? What? Oh, that was the window capture, that's why. Okay, so here we are. We got our arrow, right? It's pointing this direction or whatever. Let's call that 100 degrees. So we got 0, 90, 100, 270. 100 degrees, that means the other side is 80 degrees. That's pretty easy. It's just 180 minus whatever it is. So I need to get, assuming that's 1, assuming the vector going upwards is 1, I need to get the height on X and Y. So X is going, the length of X is going to be the cosine. So, because cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. We're setting hypotenuse equal to 1. So cosine, the cosine of that should be equal to that value. So it should be, so X, which is adjacent, oh wait, right, because I'm on the other side. So in that case, I've got to do 180 minus the angle to get the right angle. Cosine of that will give me the multiplier for the X, and then Y should be sine. But I have to subtract 100. I have to subtract from 180, and that's fine because this is the top left quadrant, so I can just do that carte blanche, really. So X is going to be just going to be 100 times cosine of 180 minus controller. And this one will be sine. Now, I don't understand why it's doing this. I don't understand why my trigger volume is so huge either. Like, what's going on with that? That's the weird part. Like, I don't understand why it's doing that. Okay, so why is it like... I don't think that even works. Let's just get rid of that real quick. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely a problem with that. So part of the problem is it's sinusoidal, which means it is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Why don't I just do the other way? Well, no, because I don't have both of those values. I'm setting the thing... This is a stupid thing. Yeah, we're just gonna do another way. We're just gonna do this. I could figure out why it's doing this sinusoidally, or I could just do this. I'm gonna make a second code block for this, actually, just to section things out a bit. Okay, so this is going to be, so realistically, there's only going to be about... It's only ever going to be in the top left quadrant. Because that object is at the top left of the map. So it will only ever be between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So, if control dir is greater than or equal to... Well, no. If control dir is equal... greater than or equal to 90 degrees, and control dir is less than, let's split it up. It's 90 to 180, that's 90. What's 9 divided by 4? It's like 9 divided by 5. What's 9 divided by 5? Every 18 degrees? So plus less than 108. Plus 18 is 126. Let's see, 126 plus 18, 34? No, 44. Uh, 54, 62. I was wondering why it was suddenly so close. Okay, so we're going to draw a spread arrow. Subimage 0. If it's pointing straight up, more or less, x, so times 0. Y plus 100 times 1. Let me see, is it pointing straight up? Then it's going to be full Y minus Y, actually. And minus X. Okay, now this is going to be times 0, 2, 0.2, 0.4, 0.8, 0.1. Did I miscounted? So 0, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 6. It was 9 divided by 6. Is that worth doing? 15. That actually is perfect. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so 15, so 9, so 105. 105 to 120. 120 to 135. 135 to 150. 150 to 165. 65 to 180. Honestly, that's good enough. It's fine. It's okay. Okay, now these boss characters are going to have very similar code to the player character. I think I'm going to set their speed to be a little slower. Well, let's see. Destination X. Let's make speed 2. Oh, he's vibrating rapidly. Look at him. Okay, we're gonna pull a lot of code. From the player object here. Facing will be 0 if it's right. 1 if it's up. 2 if it's left. 3 if it's down. I might have to shrink my character here because that's a little too big. Perfect. Okay, now create object. We're going to call this object pathing node. It's not going to have a sprite. Basically what it's going to do is... I guess it does need to have a sprite. Let's make it a little teeny one for the moment. Okay, so I think what I can do now... Yeah, it should, on collision with this, with a boss, it should pass on the next node variable, which will tell it where to go. I'm gonna have to set each of these individually, of course, but like... I could also just go... Better idea. Better idea. Instead of doing next node X and next node Y, I just do next node, and it's going to be a asset? No. Integer? No. String? Boolean? Expression? Yeah, and then I just do next node X, next node Y. So that's next node dot right, I haven't put one in there. Oh, wait, that's itself. It's this one I need to edit. So, variable. Now I'm going to get that thing's name. Put it there. Am I fucking good or what? Now, there's a little weirdness with the facing going on here. Am I incredible or what? And of course, what I could even do is, like, I could just make an array and just spawn all these things at specific locations, and then just at each one go, this is, array 1 is, this is the node, then set this variable to be the instance of this array value or whatever. Like, totally doable through code entirely. Pain in the ass, but doable. I'm so fucking smart, I swear. I'm just the best. I am the best who's ever been. No, seriously. It might just be easier to work with this with GUI for the time being. Now, one thing I do want to try and figure out is if there's a way to, like, make a pause. And also, why was he not facing right? Like, the facing code is not working for him for some reason. I want to know why. You know what? Tell me what facing you're getting. Put it in, I don't know, relative x, relative y. It should be bouncing between 1 and 3, which it is. Which means... one is up. Am I good or am I good? Seriously, look at this. Now I need to make a place meeting. Or, you know what I could probably even do, honestly? Instead of, like, going through all this, what I would probably wind up doing is just drawing the boss sprite with the cone and just have that be the hitbox. That might be a little annoying to do, though. But I do need to get a failure state. I do want to have a failure state set before I say we're good and can stop. But I do need to take a quick break, so I'll be back in a couple minutes. And then we'll see about maybe finishing this up, and I'll have all my minigames ready to go. And then I just need to finish the God sections, which will probably be tomorrow. Fun. All right. I'll be right back. Apologies on the slightly extended delay there. I was making some food for myself. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. Is there a way to, like, add a second collision mask? Because that'd be pretty easy. Just collision, player B game, room, restart. Like that would be it. No. You know what? Even better. Technically speaking, I made this code already. They are birds, so they do in fact have a 180-degree field of vision. You see, unlike humans who are predator animals, birds are typically prey animals, which means they have a much higher side-by-side field of vision, unlike predators which have stereo vision. So what we could do is we could just go to sprites. Temp, go to the vision cone. We're just going to edit this. This is a 64 by 64, right? That's what I'm trying to do, like a vision cone like that. I need like another layer though. There we go. So now we just take our paint bucket, paint the inside of that yellow. Now we've got a brand new vision cone. Yes, it looks kind of stupid. But also, it's going to be more accurate to what's actually happening. So, what we're going to do is we are just going to have, because I wrote this code, step. I'm going to have this as its own separate... Actually, no, this is all code anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. So, switch. Facing. Because I love me my switch cases. So, case. 0. Okay, so facing 1, which is right. That means 32 in the X, positive X. 0, 32, and then 32, 32. Self and obj player B game. So right is positive X. Up is negative Y. Left is negative X. Down is positive Y. Okay, so up would be negative Y, which means Y down zero, and then this is 32 here. Left will be 32, 0, and positive Y is where I'm checking, so this one's good 0. Now, this should... Am I good or am I good? A little bit of extra leeway there. Oh, I guess it should be 64, right? I was like, oh no, this is gonna be like the hard one to make. No, this is actually like the simplest one. I think that took me less time than the other one, I think. As soon as it hits the vision. Am I good or am I good, man? Am I good or am I good? I feel like 64 is too big, though. It should be 32. I don't know, it's slightly, inconsistent. I could always update the sprite to be realistic, but like... Yeah, I don't know. It feels almost... It feels a little inconsistent. Let me see here. Facing 0, which is right. Collision range... In the X down, should be 64 up, 64 down. In the negative direction, be 64 down. That seems right. I wish I could visualize this better. Oh well. Anyway, that does it then. I basically have it programmed out to work. Now it's just a matter of fine-tuning. So, hey. That's some good stuff on my part, I think. I think it's nice to have a day like this, especially when I took that long trying to get the jump king thing working. Oh, have I done the Scrandle today? That might be a good cooldown. I did do the Scrandle today. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm just going to leave it there. Let's see. Is anyone streaming that I know? Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do a quick raid over to one Usagi, who's currently doing their subathon, so I'll just do that. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, what have you. I will most likely be back tomorrow to do the god scenes, is what I'm calling them, and then Thursday is probably going to be a asset creation day. So thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, what have you. And I will see you next time.